Hi, Chris. Hello, Warwick Andy. Hi, Jackie. I'm doing well. How are you? Well, you've already said you're fine. Hello, Stephen. Hope you're okay. Hello, March West. Welcome, Colin and Kieran. Oh, I missed you. Hello, Delta CRJ 900. You're asking me. This party I'd ever be. Don't turn on lights, cause I don't wanna see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way to have fun, no. Well, hi, Richard. Hey everybody, how are you? I'll keep asking until somebody actually answers, other than Jackie, who Always tells you how she's doing, which is good. Whew. Yes, Richard, your stuff did arrive. That'll be put to use somehow, especially because the big news is I got a email from my model train shop in Germany. No, not the big thing is in, but something I reserved a year and a half ago has finally come in. I will finally be able to officially complete my station. The Delmenhorst station has been almost done for a year and a half. I've been waiting for these particular lights to come in because the company Wiesmann, which some of you may know, Wiesmann, they made the exact light towers, or announced they were making back in it was in their new items for 2019 catalog in February of 2019. So it's been since February of 2019 that I saw them. And as soon as my model shop put them in stock, or not put them in stock, put them on their website, I pre-ordered them. And they finally came in. Welcome, Steve Childers, and hello, Ray. Uh-oh, what's crappy? Ray says crappy. Sorry to hear you're crappy if you're crappy. Well, it's at the shop. It'll be here Monday. They'll be here Monday, but it was 8 of them. But it's the exact light towers that the Delmenhorst station actually has. So I'll finally be able to light the rest of the platform up with the light towers. So I'm finally going to be able to do that. Maybe it'll kickstart me into doing a couple of other things as well. We're still waiting for, I know, make you... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ray. I'm really sorry to hear that. Well, if we can distract you for a little while from it, then hopefully it accomplishes a little something. My week's been insane. I'm actually in a pretty good mood today. Work today was relatively easy. But yeah, it's been another crazy week, long hours. I don't have a lot of time to really just do what I want to do, which is often nothing. Sometimes my favorite thing to do is nothing. If I can just have a couple hours where I'm working on either the next song or, heaven forbid, I get an hour to come down here and rearrange the trains, because I always try to put out a different arrangement of trains for each show. Where's the song? It's coming. We did do another one, but it's... I don't want to lead into it. I like to wait till the crowd's here, or at least what we're going to get for a crowd is here. But yeah, so I'm finally going to be able to install those light towers on the... Is it? It's 3... There's platform 1, platform 2, platform 3, but it's 3 stages, or 2 platforms, because 2 and 3 are on the one opposite sides of the same path. But anyhow, I'll finally be able to put those up. Those will be coming in Monday. I probably won't work on it through the week, so I won't have them installed probably next show, but maybe in 2 weeks I'll be able to have them. Trying to keep an eye just to make sure everybody else. So yeah, it's a great feeling when you order something from Germany or from any model shop and it's coming in. It was nice to get these from Richard, some electrical stuff, messing with LEDs, and got some resistors and such. So those will come in handy. Thank you very much. Well, I don't like to give it away until I'm ready to play it. Although, if you're catching on, I usually give a hint at the start of the show if you're there when I'm playing music at the beginning of the show. It is different. The song, the type of song I elected to do is very different. When I do, I don't go and pick a song. The song picks me. I can listen to music because if I'm in my car, I'm listening to music. If I'm sitting in the living room, I might be watching TV, watching a video, train video, but I'll be listening to music. If I'm mowing the lawn, I'm listening to music, and just one song will come out, and my brain immediately starts making a train-based parody of it. And I try to go for comedy. I try to be funny with it. I've rejected quite a few songs because they weren't funny. Now, some of you may say that's a lie because that song you did here wasn't funny. I thought it was funny. But now, rivet counters, which very few people have really responded. A couple of people actually said, "Oh, I love that song," and that was cool. Rivet counters is one of my favorite because it was a little more of my snarky, my sarcasm, a little bit of the more vicious side of where I start to go from humor to mean. And I can cross that line sometimes easily. Still funny, but a more vicious humor. But this one, the song that I will be presenting to you in a little bit is definitely a little different. Hey, Kevin, Pork Chop Express. I saw you got a new video. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. Ewan, welcome in. Hi, Lee. Welcome, Joe Rader. Hi, Heath. All on the mobile, so we'll probably not chat much. No, I haven't played it yet, and I probably won't play it for a few minutes yet. But anyhow, yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm very excited because I will finally be able to put the tower lights on my station, but they're coming in Monday, and like I said, I probably won't work on it through the week. Because when I get home from work, the last thing I want to do is crawl under a table and start wiring, and this would involve drilling and additional wiring, and I'm going to have to move some wiring, blah, 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 and then make sure it's all set up correctly. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so anyhow, we got a couple of people that might be new here. This is the train layout map, other than the parking area, which is to the right. Yeah, as I indicate, that's the direction I am talking about. I am staring at this camera as if I'm staring at the control area right in front of me, which is right here, my Central Station 3 from Maryland, my Maryland mobile stations, my tablet apps, my laptop computers. I've got 2 laptop computers. Although the camera angles, you can see roughly where they are situated, but this is the layout map. The long run back here is about 22 feet long. It's about 22 feet along that back line there. So let's see, where's a good place to start? Well, let's just start with up above. Hey there. And let's get some trains rolling. Went with the colors today. This is a first, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute 100% first. It is the first time I have not run one of my ICEs or ICs on the layout. I always have one, whether it's the ICE2 or the ICE3 or the IC1, the IC2. They're all parked for the first time ever since I got a train, and my first train was the ICE. Since I got a train, this is the first time there isn't a white train running on my layout. There isn't a white train with a red stripe running. They're all parked. So let's go down to the 11-lane view and show you a couple of the guys. We've got the Metronome, who hasn't been on the layout in a few days or a few weeks. Metronome's out. We're still running Alex, the newest train. And, of course, here is our buddy, the Austrian Railjet, coming through. So we've got Alex. And speaking of Railjets, speaking of Railjets, coming around the corner right now, we have the Czech Railjet. Same locomotive, same type of cars, but from the Czech Republic instead of Austria. And then in the background, well, to the side here, you can see the red Lindt-class diesel unit. And is that everybody? Oh, no, not yet. Here he comes around. We've got the red Regiobahn. So I think that covers it. The Railjet on the outer lane, lane 1. I call them lanes. Speaking of which, there comes the Railjet right now. So we got the Railjet, the Regiobahn, the Czech Railjet, the Metronome, and the Alex. Now, if you're kind of new, I do run all German trains or Central European trains. So if you're looking for American stuff, not going to see it. And you have to catch me that once in a blue moon when I'm running a freight train. You can. I wasn't sure I was going to. You could survive without it. I don't know, man. I already miss it. Love my ICE. My ICE 3 especially. But anyhow, if you're interested, the Alex train basically runs from Munich to small places southwest of Munich down to the town of Lindau, or southeast to Prien on Chiemsee, or northeast to a little town called Horn on the Czech border. There's a couple of towns in Germany called Horn. So basically he's centered on Munich and goes northeast, southeast, or southwest. Doesn't go northwest. That's a different private company handles that area. The Metronome, well, the Czech Railjet is high-speed traffic from Czech Republic to its neighboring countries. The Metronome is centered, officially it's headquartered in a town called Uelzen, but basically it's Hamburg and then the bigger towns down the line from Hamburg. So Hamburg to Bremen, Hamburg to Osnabrück, Hamburg to Hanover, and that's where the Metronomes run, and also going north of Hamburg to some towns. The red Regiobahn here, that's found everywhere in Germany. Double-deckers and single-deckers, that is the National Federal Railway of Germany. That's their commuter traffic trains. You'll see single-deckers and double-deckers. Electric units like that one, which is a Class 147 locomotive in Germany. Or the diesel units, the little Lindt class, and other types of diesel units that you see rolling in the back there. So, that's a little bit of the background. How much total track length? Oh my goodness, we just added it up a couple of weeks ago. My friends Steve and Matt came down. We estimate about 275 of rolling feet. There's additional footage for parking, but about all these laps combined, about 275 feet of rolling. Hi, Andrew T. How are you? Hey, Tim JD. Good to see you. So, yeah, about 275 feet. I run 6 lanes. I don't do lane changes. I don't do routes or anything like that. It's kind of ADD. I just like to have as many trains running as I can. So I have 3 loops that completely circumnavigate my table. And then I have 3 more loops that circle just on this table here. And then there's also, as you can see, my freight train, there's some parking and a station right down in that corner. I'm pointing at it like you can see where I'm pointing. But in the bottom left-hand corner of the image you're looking at, I have a second station. Now, the official goal of the layout, which only has a little bit started, despite all the stuff you see on it and all the empty space as well, all this stuff is just stuff I picked up at garage sales or built myself just to throw stuff on the table and have something to look at when I'm running my trains. But if we go to Village View, I am slowly building a town called Delmenhorst. So on your screen, that upper left corner, that is the city of Delmenhorst and its actual 3-line train station and its bus station. And then there's a bunch of model German buildings that demonstrate roughly where the city of Delmenhorst, where some of the main parts are, but a lot of that will get moved because in the bottom right-hand corner is actually where the city hall would be and where it's going to be once I build it, with the market square. But that's a Fowler car track in there, if you can't tell. No, it's not a NASCAR or a Formula One racing track, or not IndyCar racing track would be more accurate. That is a bus depot. But the station is a 100% accurate to scale except for the platforms. The platforms are not scale length. But it is a 100% accurate scratch-built recreation of the Dumb and Horse train station. And the reason I do Dumb and Horse is because that's the city I spent 13 straight Junes in. And there's the big view. Heath, timelines are for people that have a plan. I have no plan, so I have no timeline. It's just build what I can. Since it's taken me 4 years, almost 5 years in the hobby just to get this far, which is a bus station and the train station, and everything else is just crap I threw on. Yeah, timelines are sort of like quantum. They don't exist. Thank you for that, Chris. Thank you for that. Hit the like or dislike button. I always love the dislike button. Which Dave are we referred to? Which Dave did I miss? So, a lot of people look at this layout and they just love, oh my gosh, look at all the space. And then other guys look at this layout going, look at all that space, and he's wasting it. I'm happy. Rule 1, I'm happy. I would definitely like to get my lazy butt moving more and building more, but it's just not going to happen, especially during the work year. I usually get a lot of stuff done over Christmas break, spring break, and then a month or two over summer. But I was building the bus station and injured my back and basically missed 5 months of really being able to work on the layout. And then by the time I was able to move again, the COVID bit hit, and I went on my health kick where instead of working on my layout, I was working out and doing other projects and stuff like that. And I didn't work on the train like a lot of people would have. No, I try to avoid the P word, Richard. I try to avoid the P word. Gonna get a little business here. Slowly. There comes one guy through. Problem is it takes him a minute to focus. There's that gorgeous railjet. Austrian railjet, the OBB. And the blue one, so hey, we got all three of them coming through there. That was nice. But, in all honesty, I think that Czech railjet's almost as gorgeous as the Austrian. Speaking of the Austrian, I want to alter this camera just a bit. There we go. Adjust it just a bit. Yeah, I mean, in the long run, I will eventually have scenics and things. I'll never go crazy with the scenics. It's flatland, but northern Germany is flat. Northern Germany is very flat. It's like Kansas, Nebraska flat. And somebody always say, hey, there's hills in Kansas. On the edges, but in the middle, Nebraska and Kansas are pretty darn flat. I know, I drove through them. I've driven through them. Yeah, she'll probably make an appearance when she gets home from work, but she is staying a bit later at work. She will be joining us. But, ping! Who am I getting a ping from? That was definitely my phone. My friend Steve, he's Michael Steven or Steven Michael, and we call him both. We can't decide what name to call him. Steve, since you're on right now and you're listening, you already brought your measurement card. We did measure. The only thing we didn't measure is the parking areas. But since those are non-running areas, I don't think they matter. We did measure. When you were down last time, you brought it. Steve, remember, I found the numbers. That's where we wrote it out. Like the outer loop is 76 feet, the middle loop is 64. So the 3 main loops are 210, and then the 6 lanes in here. Yeah, so it's at least 275. It might be 350 because we might have miscounted, but it's somewhere 275 to 300. So, yep, I got a lot of cameras to show, a lot of trains just running around. The only hills in Kansas are when women go to bed at night. I hope you understand that. The only hills in Kansas are when the women go to bed at night. My apologies to Jackie and any other women present who consider that a sexist joke. Steve, you could come in the chat. Well, when you're mentioning all women, plural, Steve Childers, Steve Childers, when you mention all the women, you're covering all the bases there. I mean, I could have also mentioned men with man boobs too. That would have covered it. Wow. We had 22. We're already down to 19. I've chased off a few already. Sad. I'm just not loved anymore. Maybe a couple of people were from Kansas and were offended by that. Let's get a close-up of that guy again. Whoops. I was too slow. All right, well, let's try this guy. Up the ramp. Here comes the railjet. Up the ramp. Into the station. Another guy coming through the station. And out of the 3 trains, that's the only one, that one right there, the Regiobahn, is the only one that would actually go to the Dumnor station. You would never see an Austrian railjet, and definitely wouldn't see a Czech railjet there. Yeah, big stomachs works too. Yes, we can all start thinking of all kinds of body parts that when you're laying your back, stick up and call those hills in Kansas. But let's just leave it at the sexist joke or the fat man joke and move on. We get the idea. Kansas is flat. Or as my dad would say, Kansas was flatter than Olive Oil's chest. But now we're back to the sexism again, and we will just move on. Hey, Common Road Junction, welcome. Hey, Chris, since you brought Archie with you, are you going to have him sing Sugar Sugar for us? Getting a little business at the 11-lane view here. I would like to find a place where I could stick that camera up higher. I probably could. It's just not easy. There is a soffit up behind it, but mounting the camera to it would be hard. The other let me see, the other cameras that are high up, this one is actually on a tripod over my parking area. That's, those of you look in the bottom right corner of here, most of you already know, but that little offshoot that goes into a small fiddle yard, a 5-lane fiddle yard, if you want to call it that. I call it a parking area, which is pretty full right now. We got 4 big trains parked on it right now. But this one is on a tripod, and then this one is on a support beam for the basement, since I'm in a basement, the support beam. But there isn't a support beam behind this one, because I would like to put that one up higher. And the thing is, the soffit houses an air conditioning, so I don't want to drill into the air conditioning vent. Well, you know, I put the cameras on even before I started live streaming. I did it for filming, well, mostly for filming, to make my show and videos. I set all the cameras up, and I got addicted to it, because once I had one camera, because I got started doing this because of Barnabas Junction a long time ago. Barnabas used to have like 3 or 4 cameras around his original layout, and I thought, wow, that's cool. And of course, when I started talking about it, Joyce looked at me and said, why can't you just turn your chair around? And, you know, because she's logical and intelligent. I'm a caveman. Got to have cameras, lots of cameras, different angles, see things differently. Hey, David Cook, welcome in. Well, we're back up to 21. So, anyhow, so Common Road is Archie. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. Common Road is Archie. See, I don't want to give away your joke, Dave, or Chris. I don't want to give away your joke, but half the time now you greet so many people, I have to look and say, wait a minute, are you playing your game? Or is that somebody actually in the room? Cookie Monster. You still haven't found Lulu. She went into hiding. Witness protection program. Uh-oh, what happened? Nothing happened. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. This many. Glad it's not 2 o'clock. If it's 2 o'clock, just for the UK people, I have to make sure I do this. Don't want to turn it around, right? Oh, I didn't know he was doing Vera. Or Chuck and Dave. Yeah, I get that reference. Okay, yes, we do have another video today because I can't stop making them. But this one's a little different. I don't know if you guys will love it or go, well, that was kind of stupid. I mean, most of them, it's been like that anyhow. Some people like them, some people think they're stupid. Joyce is singing, so no panicking. I do sometimes think it would be nice if, yeah, I think a lot of these songs should come from a male point of view because I'm a male chauvinist pig. And what is that? Did I get marker or something on my... No, it's just that odd black hair that grows every now and then in the mustache. Sorry, guys, I'm grooming myself. But there it is. Okay. By the way, would you check my teeth? And no. Yeah, well, I do. We've talked about it every show now. There is a little part of me that when I see a thumbs down or I get a negative comment that, for depending on what they say, if they say something like, your singing sucks and it's me singing, I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. I say that at the front of the videos. Um, Master Detective you are. Thank you, Inspector Clouseau. But, your voice is not good. Does your dog bet? But anyhow, I try to make them funny. And outside of rivet counters, they have been on the humorous side. Rivet counters, as I was saying at the start of the stream, was more of a little more of sarcasm. This song's totally different. And so to set it up, first of all, the older crowd here, do you guys know the band Three Dog Night? Do you know the band Three Dog Night? That's not former student of mine, Jamon Johnson, is it? All right, so if you know the band Three Dog Night, they did a song written by a guy named David Moore, I think his name was. Maybe it's been a long time, I can't remember. You have to leave, Jamon. This show is for 21 and over. One of my former students. Um, Anyhow, this is the song Shambhala. Now again, I don't know who knows what Three Dog Night songs. A lot of people, if you mention Three Dog Night, they might think Jeremiah is a bullfrog, joy to the world. Mama told me not to come. One. Uh, they had a myriad of hits in the early 70s. They were soft rock, pop, superstars. My oldest sister was a huge Three Dog Night fan, and I have to admit, I love a lot of Three Dog Night stuff. I love a lot of their songs. But we happened to be listening to Three Dog Night, and as we're going through the playlist, Mama told me not to come. No, I can't do anything with that. Um, but I love the song Shambhala, and apparently I really got to like the song for me to do a parody of it. But Shambhala came on, and I immediately had the main lyric that you'll see through here. Um, but this is more of a saccharine song. This is more of a gosh, I love model trains. It's not the sarcasm, it's not the humor, it's not making fun. It's we always say saccharine when something's a little too sweet, like some of those old 80s sitcoms or you guys from the 70s and 80s in the UK that The Good Life, where it's just too happy and too nice. And Joyce, uh, boy, she, what a lot of people may not fully understand is Joyce has asthma. And for her to actually sing through a song where she's actually singing it and then doing multiple takes, that's a strain on her too. And she did a yeoman's effort. And when she was done, she really hated how she sounded. But as I've worked on it, it's like, actually, I think once you get past the first stanza where she's trying to get her voice, she really sounds good. But this is the song. Welcome, Terry Eland. Hi. Um, so anyhow, let me go ahead and get into it. I just want you to know if you know the song Shambhala. If not, well, then you're not going to feel bad that we've assaulted it. But here is Joyce singing My Layout. Now, it does have a little bit of a beginning to it for a change from a video, just a quick 5-second bit, so don't panic. Here we go.
Well, let's turn to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Drive it all away with the trains on my
Okay, so that was our newest one. Hi, Rachel. Welcome in. Yeah, that was probably Joyce's eighth take where she was singing it, and Joyce has volunteered to sing all the songs from now on, mostly because she can't stand my voice either. So she's gonna sing most of them from now on, I think. Um, and Yeah, I felt, not to judge, I felt she sounded just a little rough because her asthma. She's got to kind of get the singing going, so her voice is a little rough at first. But boy, once she got into it, I thought she sounded angelic. Especially once she starts the ah ooh, yeah. If you know the song Shambhala, I don't know how many of you know it. I love it. It's probably my favorite Three Dog Night song. Um, but yeah, I'm just. I thought from after the first couple of lines, I thought she just really. The more I listened to it, the more I was just like, I kept going back to her, honey, this really sounds good. But yeah, it was a little different. It wasn't the comedy. It was, sort of how I feel about if I've had a crappy day and come down to the trains. Hopefully, other people could roll into that. Wow, we're up to 30. She'll be on American Idol. That'd be cool. Hey, Jeff, welcome. Jeff Hammond, good to see you. So, thank you guys again. I hope you enjoy that. Again, it's a little different from what I've normally done. And when I started writing it last Sunday, I was like, I tried to resist it because usually if I get a song that's more legitimate and not funny, I tend to fight it. But this one just came on strong. We were listening to a Three Dog Night through the week, and it just came. Wash away my sorrows, wash away my shame with the rains of Shambhala. And I was just like, when I'm down on my layout, and bam, it writes itself. All of a sudden, I only need to hear one line, and if I can get a hook, the writing commences. And it takes me, I don't know if this is good or bad. It takes me about anywhere from half an hour to an hour to get the basic lyrics down. And then another hour or so of fiddling, of going through and making sure that lyrics line up with the actual rhythm of the song and the rhythm of the original singing. That was one of the things Joyce did. There was a line in there, and when you listen to the song Shambhala, basically with each stanza, he adds a syllable to the line. So like the first stanza, it's 11 syllables. Second stanza, it's 12 syllables, but it's the same beat and measure. And then third stanza, it's 13 syllables. And Joyce just has the main syllable in her head, and she's trying to sing everything to that beat, and she kept getting thrown off. And I'm like, honey, you have to add this extra syllable in there. You can't pause here and then try to squeeze it all in. You have to add this extra syllable in. That was the first time really was working with her and trying to coach her, because, see, I can't sing, but I understand vocal work and rhythmic changes in voices, because that's also related to one of my old degrees, both linguistics and speech and all that. Anyhow, let's run some trains again. Let's get them all started, fired up. Hey, welcome, Lehigh River Subdivision. Comfortably Numb is one of those songs that I definitely could not do as... I could probably start doing one. A guy walking down to his basement. Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody down here? And I could do it. There are certain songs my brain says don't touch. Don't mess with it. They're such amazing songs. Now, of course, I went right after Bohemian Rhapsody, but Bohemian Rhapsody in and of itself is sort of tragic comedy or comic tragedy song in and of itself. So it's just, I do find myself constantly changing the music list I'm listening to on a day-to-day basis, just because I'm hoping a song will kick up an idea. Because we've got 2 songs done where the lyrics are written out, we just can't find the music. We can't find an instrumental version of the music. We've got a 3rd one where we've got one instrumental version of the music, but it's a pop song, but it's done with more like orchestra. And it's like, no, that's not the way to do it. And then there's one I think we're going to have Joy sing, but it's the most complicated vocal song anybody could do. You really have to record 3 times because you got to get the primary vocal, the first set of backup vocals, then the 3rd set of vocals with its backup vocals. It's a very complex song vocally for such a simple pop song. Hey, Leslie Gilpin, how are you? Good to have you here. Just running some German trains, and I just played our newest song, so you're either lucky you missed it or unlucky you missed it. It's your opinion. I did not sing. Joyce is now the official singer. But she'll be pleased to hear that most of you seem to like it, that it got some good reviews. Well, we were up to 30 for a second, but bam, down to 28 now. Well, I broke the 30 mark. I guess that's a happy. But again, I'm always curious as to why people would keep coming in, but I'll keep doing this because I like to talk. I like to talk to people. But if you don't know what trains we're running, for the first time ever in almost 5 years, in fact, we're coming up on the 5th anniversary of me buying my first train. I bought it at the end of October off of eBay, and I got it in November, and then I had to leave it alone until Christmas when I got the track. But for the first time ever in the history of me running any trains, not a single ICE or IC is on my layout. Not one ICE or IC. All my white trains with red stripes are parked. This is a first. We've got the Alex train for his 3rd, and he'll probably get parked after this one. I've basically been using the last few weeks to run him in, and then he'll park and wait his next turn. We've got the red Regio Bond going here. We're running both rail jets, but also something rare. Here comes the great maroon magenta railjet and the metronome, the yellow metronome going through. And there's the green Alex and the red DMU in the back. But bada bow, bada bing. Hurry up, come here, come on, hurry up, dude, let's go. Come on, Checky. Ahoy! The railjet, the Czech railjet right here is running on the full loops, the outer loops, for only like the 2nd or 3rd time ever. He's normally done the short loops, but I decided to let him air out on the big loops. No, I think Ray, I don't know if Ray's in the background listening. Something really had to have been kind of rough on him if he even admitted to it in a chat room, because he is usually such a good-natured guy, and like a lot of people, doesn't want to put negative stuff out, their personal negative stuff out on other things, so that he was feeling pretty bad. said that he had just had a really bad 24 hours. If you're out there, Ray, I don't know what it was. I just gonna say, well, and I appreciate that. I mean, I'm going to say this and risk the wrath of hell. I am the counter moldy raspberry. Now, before anybody shoots me for that I'm daring to compare myself to moldy raspberry, that's why I said I'm the counter or the anti, and not that I'm anti. Moldy raspberry, and if you haven't caught, he is a finalist for Hornby Magazine's layout of the year. I think that's what it was. Somebody's magazine layout of the year, I believe. And he should win it. Moldy Raspberry has one of the prettiest layouts on the internet, bar none, period. I would, in terms of the care he takes, whether you want to talk Dave, Class 47, if you want to talk Everard Junction, or some of the other big name guys that have just gorgeous layouts, Moldy Raspberry is right up with them. I am so respectful and admiring of Moldy Raspberry. I would put the work he does up on the Josef Brandl level, the German professional guy. Maybe not quite as good, but that's like saying you're almost as good as Rembrandt. You know, it's still quite a compliment. You're not quite as good as Rembrandt. But the reason I say that is because Moldy Raspberry has his layout, and he has like 2 runs on it. And when you watch his videos, it's the same layout. Occasionally he does, he's added something or remodified something, and it's awesome. It's gorgeous. But it really is, it's the same layout with the same trains. He just changes the camera angle a bit, changes the train each week, and it's like it's a totally different and new layout every time. Well, I'm sort of the same thing in the opposite direction. Mine is the exact same layout, the exact same trains all the time. Hey, it's Matt Moore. Hi, Matt. Nancy, how are you? Oh, that's right. It is Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving, which is a month ahead of American Thanksgiving, because the Canadians give thanks that they didn't join America in the Revolution and stayed loyal to the king. That's what Canadian Thanksgiving is. Or so I've been told by my Canadian friends. Yeah, I've seen Pigs 47 as well. And it's very good. And of course, the minute you mention one person you think is awesome, somebody will have, hey, wait, what about so-and-so? I was like, yeah, you know, there's guys that are just, they're on a different plane of existence. They're artistry and such. That's why I don't do like, I don't do channel shout-outs because I would want to shout out everybody. I would feel guilty for everybody I left out. I mean, that's why I make you all moderators. You shout out your channels. I don't want to say, here's a channel I've decided I like this week, because I'd feel guilty for all the ones that, you know, you're all equally good. You're all just fun to watch. That's why I subscribe to your channels. July 4th is the British Thanksgiving. Well, you know, the Brits have paid us back many times for breaking away. My favorite anything about July 4th and the UK is from the movie The Great Escape. Steve McQueen and 10,000 great actors. If you know the scene where the three Americans at the camp decide to celebrate July 4th with a little bit of potato squeezins, a little bit of moonshine. That is so hilarious, the way they just do some banter about, July 4th and with the that's just fantastic. Well, hello, Sakura Densha. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. How are you, sir? Yeah, I'll think the sci-fi film too. But of course, I also love my. I've got a couple of German friends who give me a little grief about that. It's like, typical Americans, you make a movie and now you make your national holiday the world national holiday. Yeah. I mean, but not too many countries celebrate Independence Day that way. Even Mexico, a lot of people go, oh, Mexico, it's, why am I showing this particular scene? They go, oh, Mexico, Cinco de Mayo, that's their Independence Day. No, it isn't. Their Independence Day is like September 22nd, maybe? I could be wrong. But Cinco de Mayo is the bigger holiday, even though Americans use it as an excuse to drink tequila and act stupid. But Cinco de Mayo is the bigger holiday rather than Independence Day in Mexico. But Cinco de Mayo was not Independence Day. Cinco de Mayo was a battle fought against, was it, now I forget, was it the Habsburg Emperor in the mid 1800s, or was it a battle? But basically a bunch of independent factions that were fighting each other as much as they were fighting the Spanish. Set aside their differences and joined together on the Cinco de Mayo, on the 5th of May, and got their first big victory against the Spanish. And so that was so that's their big holiday. Germans just had their newest big national holiday, Reunion Day, Unification Day, October 3rd, which is when the two countries, West Germany and East Germany. Yes, kids, at one time there were two Germanys. The two sides voted to unite. Now, it didn't officially happen until December, but it was October 3rd that they said, yes, we will do this. So that was sort of a big holiday in Germany. But again, they don't celebrate theirs. I mean, France celebrates Bastille Day. Is that their Independence Day? I don't know. Yeah, rub it in to me, Tim. My Independence Day will be, I think it's June 3rd, 2022. That'll be my Independence Day. And within 2 days, I'll hopefully be on a plane, hopefully to the United Kingdom. Because Joyce and I will end the school year, and then like 2 days later, we're on a plane to Europe. I really did. I know it's whining when people who are listening maybe don't get the opportunities I've had in the last few years. But man, I missed that trip to Germany this year. The Growler is leaving? Okay. Good night, Ewan. Take care. See you somewhere. No, Damien, and welcome in. I didn't see you come in. I guess I should have been looking. Australia's Independence Day. Now, Canada has, what is it? Federation? No. Confederation Day? What is it? Help me out, Nancy, if you're still there. What is Canada's Federation Day, Confederation Day, something like that? When I took students to Europe, Andrew, it could feel like that. Now, in all fairness, when I took my students to Germany, they always acted well with their host families, except for one case, and when I took them publicly out places. When my students acted up, it was normally just with me when we got somewhere, and it was just me, Joyce, and my students, and it was never bad, but they would say, okay, we're away from our host families. Can we sneak out at night, Mr. Dodge, not notice? And the answer was no, you can't. But there were a lot of great, silly things. But the negatives of any trip were always part of traveling there. It was always somebody else. For example, one year we flew in. It wasn't our fault. Our plane left Detroit late. And we got to Paris an hour and 10 minutes late. Our plane arrived an hour and 10 minutes late. We originally only had an hour and a half layover at Charles de Gaulle to begin with. So now we're down to 20 minutes. Now it takes half an hour to get off the plane. So our plane is already scheduled to leave. We are running through Charles de Gaulle Airport. And by the way, Charles de Gaulle Airport is so badly marked of where things are, but this was like our second or third time flying through Charles de Gaulle that we knew where to go. But we are running through the airport. And then we got to catch this massive line at the passport control because we're arriving for the first time in Europe, so you got to go through security. We don't have to get our luggage, or that would have made it even longer. Fortunately, they opened up a window and called us over and got us through quickly, but we're running, and some of my students were not in shape to run. So poor Joyce, I'm leading the way. Joyce is bringing up the rear, trying to get the kids that aren't in shape. Come on, kids, you gotta go. And we finally get to the place, and and the French. The French ladies running the gate were so rude. They were just so rude. Oh, you're the Americans. You're finally here. Like, pardon my language, but bitch, I didn't fly the plane. It's not my fault. And then they had problems with two of the kids' passes. The boarding pass. It's not scanning. Your child bent this. Your student should not have bent this. When you bend these, it makes them hard to scan. It's like we were holding them in our hands because we had to show them at Border Patrol, and we're running. Okay, a little pressure. And they were just... So then you get through all that crap, and we finally get on the plane, and we're the last people on the plane. And these people have been sitting for an hour. Only an hour. Only an hour. You know, and we know the announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, our departure has been delayed as we're waiting for connecting flights. We're waiting for a group of passengers from a flight that was delayed. So when you get on the plane, and it's me, Joyce, and 18 other students, and all those people on the plane, and they make you walk through first class or near first class, and they're all just glaring at you with hatred. Glaring at you with hatred. Yeah, Anzac Day is remembering the Gallipoli invasion, where England, like it will often do, sorry my English friends, send the colonists in first. Let them take all the bullets. In the Pacific theater of war, and even in parts of the other campaigns of World War I, okay, send the Australians and New Zealanders. In the trenches of World War I, it was send the Canadians and the Scots over first. In World War II, it was send the Canadians, send the Canadians and the Irish over first. And that's not me saying that. That is That is at least 2 Scottishmen, 3 Irishmen, and a few Canadians that fought in World War II that have explained that to me. My grandfather fought in the trenches of World War I as an American, which meant basically started seeing action at the very end of April of 1917 and then into 1918. He didn't talk much about the war, but he did love to tell the ghost story. My grandfather had this, and my grandfather did not believe in ghosts, so he didn't call it a ghost story, we called it a ghost story. But my grandfather was from a little town southeast of here called Bluffton, Ohio. Or is it southwest? I forget. Tiny little farmer town. And there was another young guy in his outfit from Bluffton. And of course, before they went over, they joined the army together. And somebody said, "Hey, keep an eye on him." Blah blah blah. And they went through basic training together and then deployment together. And then, like the second or third time they went over the top. This was like one of the first major over the top. It might have been the assault on the St. Michel salient. But it was a big battle and they went over the top. And of course, you went into those machine gun nests. And my grandfather had risen to sergeant by that time and survived the battle, came back, and he's trying to take roll call. You know, the lieutenant or whatever is like, all right, you know, who's here, who's not here. And my grandfather is in the dugout, the little officer's dugout, the non-com and lieutenants. They're in that dugout. And there's a knock at the door, and my grandpa says, I turned around, and there was Willie. And Willie had bandages all over his forehead, and his arm in a sling, and blood all up and down his legs. But he was saluting me, and he said, Havel, looks like I get to go home. And my grandpa says, I said, hang on a minute, you know, we have to do some things before you can, before you get on the truck to go back to the nursing station. And my grandpa says, I turned back to the table, finished writing what I was writing. I went to the door, and he was gone. And I turned around, I said, anybody seen Willie? And somebody goes, Willie Thomas, Willie. My buddy Willie, anybody see him? No. I heard he got his head blown off by a cannon when we got halfway through no man's land or something like that. You know, I got a head blown. And then 2 other guys said, yeah, Willie got killed like 20, 30 seconds after we went over the top. And my grandpa's like, no, I just saw Willie. He spoke to me. It's like, it couldn't have been Willie. It must have been somebody else. I said, no, it was Willie. He saluted me. He called me by my name. It was Willie. And then my grandfather would always finish that story and go, but don't be thinking there's any ghost story, that this is any ghost story. I don't know what it was. It probably was somebody else. But I swear to God, it looked like Willie. Ah, well, see, Damien, you fooled us. The Independence Day. Well, it could easily have been coming back, or as they're going over. Operation Market Garden was the biggest bunch of stupidity. And I don't think Field Marshal Montgomery takes enough blame for it. He deserves a lot more blame than he gets. He does take some blame for it. But it was 90% successful. No, it wasn't. It was a bonehead operation, and you got thousands and thousands of British, UK, Canadian troops, Polish troops, and American troops killed because it was a bad idea. It was executed badly. It was designed badly. and it was rushed into. I am not a fan, and I know it offends my UK people. I do not like Sir Bernard Montgomery. I think he's a heavily overrated general. His great victory, El Alamein, was really somebody else's design, and he just happened to wind up being in charge when the battle came into existence. And Africa Corps was pretty blown and shot by that time anyhow. But hey, he beat Rommel, right? And then the invasion of Italy, where he made sure the Americans had the crappiest way to go and the British had the easiest way, and the Americans still beat them to Palermo. And again, I'm not trying to be Americans versus UK here. I'm talking strictly the generalship of Bernard Montgomery. And then the Battle of the Bulge, he took credit for winning, and that was finally where even Churchill had to step in and say, Bernie, you need to shut up. And I know I've got a couple of UK military historian guys that may not like my version of those events, but I am not a fan of Montgomery. A lot of great generals, Horrocks, and crap, now my brain's going. Alexander, a lot of great UK, but Montgomery is the one thrown out there, and I thought he was the worst. And the Germans had no respect for him either. The Germans thought Montgomery was the biggest joke of a military officer. Kojak won the Battle of the Bulge. No, it wasn't Kojak. Americans got caught with their pants down, thinking that sector was quiet, and the Germans shot their wad. Although it wasn't their last Western Front offensive, it was really their last Western Front offensive. Yes, that's true. We always say that history is written by the winners. But, you know, in this day and age, we can... I mean, and again, I fully understand. You know, the UK stood alone in Europe for about 3 years. The UK stood alone against Nazi Germany, although in the middle of that 3 years, the Russian front had opened up. But from, you know, in all fairly, England went through the ringer. From the Battle of Britain to the Blitz, while England was standing alone and nobody else in the world wanted to get involved. And England should always deserve... I'm sorry, the United Kingdom. I shouldn't be just saying England. The United Kingdom. My apologies. The United Kingdom. They deserve all the respect in the world for that. They were taking it. They were taking gut shots and dirty shots, and nobody else in the world was helping them. The French quit on them like that. And until Hitler shifted all his forces to the Russian front, England was on its own. Now, at the same time, outside the North Africa campaign and then maybe a little bit of the Greek campaign, there wasn't much going on in the war anyhow. But the Americans had to come in, and we got our noses bloodied when we fought the Battle of Kasserine Pass and, you know, the Operation Torch. We weren't, you know, it was our first battles. But I'll have UK guys going, yeah, well, how'd you American guys, you know, you American guys didn't exactly do anything when you entered the war. Look how you guys got your butt kicked at Kasserine Pass. Well, it was our first battle. I mean, I'll get defensive, you know, I'll defend the American honor and say, yeah, you guys didn't exactly handle your first battle with Nazi Germany very well either. I seem to recall you guys getting, you know, dropping all your tanks and guns and getting on boats and going back to England. But you don't want to go down that road of nationalistic stupidity. England took the Blitz, and nobody else was there to help her. And those people at that time always deserve respect. Greatest generation and all that. No, Churchill, and I don't think even history today makes Churchill out. He was the man that was needed for the job, but clearly even the British didn't think his job was that important because they voted him out before the war was over. Clement Attlee took over. Churchill was the man needed at that time. But let's face it, Churchill was the guy who designed the Gallipoli campaign, which was not a brilliant design. But Churchill was the man needed at that time. Certainly you didn't want Neville Chamberlain, and I'm not going to get into British political parties, but Neville Chamberlain. I've got Mr. Hitler's promise that he will not make another territorial demand in Europe ever again. Dude, he's already made 5. And you're like, I've got his signed agreement here. And, Hitler, von Ribbentrop, they're all laughing hysterically at Chamberlain. I've achieved peace for our time. He achieved peace for about 6 months. Until Hitler was ready to start his next shenanigans. Hey, David. Yes, Richard, that is a brilliant point. The biggest mistake Germany made, and thank God the villains always make bad mistakes, is, they stopped going after the military. If they had just kept bombing the airfields and gone after the radar, sooner or later England would have not been able to put up the fight. But fortunately, they changed their tactics and it backfired on them. Like it did. Hey, Train Freak, welcome in. Yeah, decisions were made on poor intelligence, Stephen. That's true. And no leader is perfect. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, like George Patton was a great general. No. There were things he did well, but he was also a complete and total scumbag. I think George C. Scott makes him out better in the movie than he was in real life, and still George tried to play him as a bit of a jerk. But I do think Patton was a much better general than Montgomery, and I think had the Supreme, SHAEF, Supreme Headquarters Allied European Forces, whatever, had they given the resources that they kept giving to Montgomery and concentrated on Patton's breakthrough through the Bocage country and then to the Rhine, I do think they could have ended the war sooner. Obviously, 2020 hindsight. If we had not wasted the resources on Operation Market Garden. But history is history for a reason. You can't change history. That's why I hate those TV shows that always say, how weather changed history. No, weather didn't change history. Or how this changed history. It didn't change history, but it may have affected it. But there's a difference between an effect and a change. History is what it is. You can't change history. But, it's... By the way, hi, Melvin. I don't think I ever said hi to you. But, and we do have the option 2020 hindsight. The thing is, Operation Market Garden was the exact opposite. Montgomery came up with the plan, just like he came up with the plan for the invasion of Italy, and they threw out the American plan and conceded to Montgomery and Churchill. And again, they conceded because England had taken the brunt of the abuse from Hitler, so England deserved the chance to get back at Hitler. So I'm fully in alignment with that. But at the same time, Montgomery's plan to invade Sicily and then Italy was absolutely stupid. And then Montgomery did always make sure the Americans got the crappiest landing points. Even on D-Day, we had Omaha Beach, which was the absolute worst place to try to land. And then the Americans got blamed for how bad Omaha Beach was. It was the strongest defensive part of the Normandy coast, and it was the crappiest beach. And the Americans were given it. Montgomery was given Juno and Sword, which was drive up and you're in the country. And still Montgomery was supposed to take Cannes in 3 days, and he couldn't do it in 30. But Market Garden, they had British intelligence and Dutch intelligence told them there's panzer divisions here. The defenses are stronger. The highway is not good enough. There's too many bridges. There's no way you can seize all the bridges. The Germans have them all preset to blow. And Montgomery just ignored all that and said, do it anyhow. And nobody would do it. The radio issue. They were using radios they had in the desert, and the radio techs knew the radios would not work in the wet areas of the Netherlands, but nobody said anything. Yeah, and again, I can understand that logic, Steve Childers. I can totally agree with that logic. Those V2 and V1 sites were in his sector, and you needed to take them out. All the more reason you needed to make sure your battle plan was sound and not just wishful thinking. So again, I don't have a problem with giving the resources to the British. I don't have a problem with giving priority to their sector. I fully can agree with that from a military standpoint. But that doesn't mean take the first crazy plan that comes to mind and say, okay, go with it. It was ill-conceived, and Montgomery pushed it even though his own generals were saying this isn't right. Even though his own intelligence people were saying it's not going to work. And he wound up getting the British airborne. Basically, they never fought in the war again after it. And the British the American 82nd Airborne and 101st Airborne had only just started recovering at the time of the Battle of the Bulge, and they had to be rushed in to take over key defensive positions, even though they weren't up to speed and strength yet, and they were airborne troops. So yeah, it was just I'm gonna offend people with my ripping on him, but. So I don't have any problems with the political decisions that had to be made. And Eisenhower handled it beautifully. Yes, I agree. If we had shifted those things south, we could have ended the war faster. But the decision, hey, we got to take out those V1, V2 sites, I agree. But the plan of Operation Market Garden was just complete stupidity. And everybody except Montgomery agreed with it. The Polish General Sosabowski. Oh, you need to read his book. Oh, he tears Montgomery and Montgomery's staff apart in that book. Yes, Bulge was after Market Garden. Yeah, Bulge was December, Market Garden was September. But the British, was it 1st Airborne Division, the British 1st Airborne, or 17th Airborne Division? My brain's not working right now. They were so destroyed that they never took an active combat role that the remainder of the war. Both in Europe, the last 8 months of the war in Europe, or the Pacific Theater. And the American 82nd Airborne and 101st Airborne, who did Nijmegen and, I'm forgetting the other one. Eindhoven, Nijmegen, and Arnhem. And Arnhem was just brutal. If I meet somebody and they say their relative fought at Arnhem, and I met one old British gent who was a veteran, he was one of the red. What was it? The Red Caps at Arnhem. And all I do is look at that person and I want to cry and hug them because what they went through in Arnhem, those guys were brutalized. They were brutalized. The guys that fought in Arnhem, I cry for them. I mean, I literally can cry for them because what they went through and the heroism they put up. No troops are any more heroic than the British airborne guys that fought in Arnhem, because they didn't have a chance, and they held out for so long. Well, it's that whole stiff upper lip thing, Richard. As an outsider looking at the UK, it's that stiff upper lip thing. But also, I always think there's a little bit of classism. You know, there was a horrible line that I forget exactly how it goes. Maybe one of you guys knows the quote. Maybe Sakura Densha knows the quote. But it's something like, the great battles of England are won on the fields of Sandhurst, or whatever it is. But basically that it's the upper class officers of England that win all the great battles in British history, in UK history. And I just find so much classism in that. Because in the end, it's the grunts who fight the battles. And you're either a good officer who knows how to lead your men, or you're a bad officer and the non-coms lead the men anyhow and just hope you stay out of the way. But, yeah, I'm getting preachy on World War II history here. There I go, being opinionated and a scumbag again. But, yeah, it's, Choo-Choos and Chit-Chat, as we say. You know, that's one of the things that's heavily in my soul is classism. I hate classism. I'm not a commie, but I hate elitism and classism. The I'm rich, therefore I'm superior. I hate that attitude, especially if, well, my family's always been rich. We've always been superior. I hate that mentality. We have it in America too. It's the old part of the whole Protestant work ethic, the old belief that if you're rich, it's because God favors you and you're liked. And that is instilled in a lot of America. And it goes back to the Puritans. The Puritans believed that anything that happened to you in this life was God rewarding you or punishing you. So if you stubbed your toe, God was mad at you. If you were rich, it's because God favored you and was rewarding you. And that attitude pervades America, that corporate attitude. I'm a working class hero. As soon as you're born, they make you feel small. Hey, it's John Lennon's birthday. We should have done a John Lennon tribute. He would have been 80 today. The second Beatle to turn 80. John Lennon would have been 80 today. He's been dead now as long as he lived. And that is a tragedy. John Lennon could be a complete jerk, but man, he gave us so many great songs and so many great memories as well. But then again, maybe I shouldn't do any John Lennon tributes because I don't want Yoko Ono cashing in on the cash cow her husband was for her. Granted, she's a brilliant businesswoman. She took his fortune and turned it into a mega fortune. She is so overrated as an artist, and she is one of the biggest liars in history. But the woman knows how to turn a dime into a dollar. I don't know. To me, the Beatles are four guys, and everybody can have their favorite, but it's not the Beatles without those four guys. And yes, they had guys in the band before. The original drummer, well, actually, not even the original drummer, but their first main-time drummer, Pete Best. Their bass player who never played the bass, Stu Sutcliffe. But that was all before they became famous. Before they recorded their first album, it was John, Paul, George, and Ringo. When they recorded their last album, it was John, Paul, George, Ringo. And, you know, none of the other great bands can claim that. The Who have had lineup changes. The Stones have had lineup changes, the Kinks. But the Beatles will always be just John, Paul, George, and Ringo. From first album to last album. I think we're all good at that, Train Freak. I could turn a bank account into a zero real easy. Which is why Joyce is the banker. You know, they were doing the joke about that on Heath's live stream that I was watching during my lunch period. They were joking about, you know, the guys would spend the money and the women have the tight curls on the purse strings. I know where our bank account is. Joyce is the primary banker. She's in charge of. This happened a long time ago. She became the bill payer. But I don't have an allowance. But I know where my bills are, and I know. I remember when we lived penny to penny when we first got married. So I try to set up a train budget. But I will break it now and then. But I'll go to Joyce and say, hey, I know this wasn't originally in the train budget, but I really decided I want to buy this. And then we'll sit down and look at the bills and go, yeah, we can squeeze this in. Because the one thing we don't want to do is what we did when we were young is rack up the credit card debt. You know, just put it on the credit card. Just put it on the credit card. Oh, we've had a major car disaster. Just put it on the credit card. Yep, that's what we were just saying. John Lennon would have been 80 today. Your friend is her dentist? Because Yoko Ono's like 80s. She was 4 or 5 years older than John, so she's mid-80s. John was born in 1940, obviously, because he would be 80 today. But she was born mid-30s, so she's got to be like 85. What's really scary is you always think of Sean Lennon as the little kid that John Lennon stopped recording for 5 years to raise. He's 45 today. Not only is it John Lennon's birthday, but it's Sean Lennon's birthday today. And he's 45. John Lennon's oldest son, Julian, is 58 last month. So not only is it weird to just see the Beatles being old, but their kids are old. I'm still waiting for. I love his drum beat and Paperback Writer. To me, the three best examples of Ringo's drumming. And that's probably hard to do, but his drumming in the song Day in the Life, to me, it's not the Keith Moon, John Bonham drum crashing, explosive drumming, but his drumming on the Beatles song Day in the Life is the most brilliant, intuitive drumming in pop, rock, hard rock history. That's top. His bit with Come Together, Paperback Writer, Day Tripper, Ticket to Ride. Also some great examples of very intuitive and brilliant drumming. Even though you always think of Ringo as, well, all he did was sit back there and go, tsh, 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 you know, play that Mersey beat. Yeah, she's... Yoko Ono is Japanese. She was an avant-garde artist that was popular in circles living in London. Claims she had never heard of the Beatles. Yeah, you don't live in England in the 60s and not hear of the Beatles. Claims that she just met John Lennon, didn't know who he was, didn't know who the Beatles were, except Paul McCartney and a couple of others clearly recall that when Paul McCartney visited the art studio where she and her friends hung out, she started making passes at Paul McCartney. And that was one of the little feuds Paul and John had towards the breakup, was Paul was like, John, she was hitting on me last year. The Sean's and Julian's teeth too. It's interesting to do Julian since, I don't know, maybe Julian lives in New York too. I don't know. Oh, rats. I wanted to go there and changed it. There's a Rio Bond going through Dublin Horse Station and the railjet coming in, which would never happen in real life. See, what people don't understand who think Ringo plays drums a little awkwardly or even think his sound's different, in some cases his sound is different, but Ringo is left-handed. But he played a right-handed kit because they don't usually change instruments around for left-handers. So he's a lefty, and when you're playing a right-handed kit, you had to do certain jerk motions with your shoulder or hitch moves with your arms to go from one side to the other because certain drums and cymbals are on this side and certain on that side. Now today, lefties will create a left-handed drum kit, so it's the normal routine because lefties go the opposite way. I know I'm a lefty. And I played cello for 3 years, except they wouldn't let me restring the cello. So what happened is I taught myself to play cello with the chords upside down, and I pulled when I should have pushed, and I pushed when I should have pulled on the bow. I played it completely backwards. I taught myself the chords upside down and played left-handed. And for 2 years, my music teacher didn't pay any attention, didn't seem to care. Because we asked if we could get it restrung for left-handed. No, everything, even the instruction books are right-handed. So I had to teach my chords, but I did it right-handed. Because I can't coordinate this way. I can't coordinate like that. I coordinate like this. Or like this. And so I taught myself the chords upside down. Now this is fifth grade, 6th grade, and into 7th grade. Okay, we're not talking high school and I was a virtuoso or anything. But it was a school freebie cello, and I got into orchestra. So in 7th grade, I had a new orchestra teacher, and, you know, first week that we unpack our instruments and actually start playing, I'm doing this, you know, okay, run through scales, run through primers, blah, 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 and I'm doing this, and the teacher looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" I'm running scales, or whatever we'd call our warm-ups and so forth. "Stop playing around and play that instrument correctly." This is how I play it. "That is not how you play that instrument. Now quit playing around and wasting my time." I have played it like this for 2 years, sir. And I'm playing it. And he just looked at me and he spent 3 weeks trying to teach me to play it the right-handed, because apparently if you're left-handed, you're going to duel with the guy next to you. And he finally kicked me out of orchestra. I couldn't play the instrument properly. Well, I can't, yeah, I never learned to play guitar. I think I learned 2 chords and tried to play guitar, but again, my right hand, not very coordinated, and to run the chords. But at the other way, I can't coordinate left hand strumming and right hand, or right hand strumming and left hand fingering the chords. I could probably finger the chords better left-handed, but it feels awkward. My instincts say you play this way and finger the chords. But these fat, gnarly fingers have never been able to play chords on a guitar well. I needed 4 strings. Maybe I should have taken up bass guitar, but everybody always made fun of bass guitarists when I was a kid, so I didn't want to play bass guitar. I probably should have. I might have handled bass guitar better. And then if you play bass guitar, do you play thumb? Like a lot of bass guitarists, especially rhythm and blue bass guitars. Do you play like Paul McCartney and John Entwistle, where you actually play it like a guitar? Or do you play it like a lot of the soul and that guys that play it strumming like this, you know, strumming upwards? 3 different ways. Bye, Rachel. Thank you. All right, should I play the song one more time? Joyce has yet to arrive, or if she snuck in. I should have asked her if she's around. Hey, Joyce, are you around? Nope, apparently not. I'm going to nag Joyce. You play the third minute. Yeah, there's strumming up, there's thumb, boom, 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 or there's playing it like a guitar when you're playing bass. Paul McCartney was one of the first guys that actually played bass guitar like a guitar, and that's because he started on guitar and went to bass. And Paul doesn't get enough credit for what an innovative bass player he was. He doesn't get enough credit. And John Entwistle just ran with it. I mean, John Entwistle to me is the greatest rock and roll bass guitarist ever. That guy's thunder fingers, the way he could just with a bass guitar was ridiculous. So, see, even though I'm a Beatle fan, I'm not blind. John Entwistle, just amazing on the bass. Okay, people are saying play the song again. Now, Joyce says she won't be home for 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, I can keep the stream going that long, but she won't. She's running late today. And by the way, Joyce, not a good estimator of time. Not a good estimator of time. Joyce will say, oh, that usually only takes about 10 minutes. An hour later, I thought you said it'd take 10 minutes. Well, it was doing this and doing that. All right, so most of you, I think, heard the song before. I will set it up. It is Three Dog Nights, Shambhala, and it's not a funny song. It's more just sort of a happy, syrupy, saccharine, sweet song. So here it is again. Whoops, no it isn't.
Well, let's turn to this story now. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Drive it all away with the trains on my layout.
Okay. If you hear my phone beeping, that's Joyce talking. I just left work. I'm on my way. I told her adoring fans await. So there, if you didn't see it, now you did. Yeah, the cab ride videos were half from my friend Matt and half from me. I do have a Polaroid Cube. I do have my own little camera car. Let's pop this up. I do have my own little camera car. It's a Polaroid Cube 2. It just doesn't have Wi-Fi. If it had Wi-Fi, it would be on the layout, and I'd be using it. I really do want to get a Wi-Fi version that I could patch into the OBS here, the multi-cameras. They're just a little more expensive than I want to drop on a camera. I've already got so many stupid cameras. This is my best camera. Probably most expensive camera I've ever bought. This is a Panasonic Lumix G7, I think it is, G7. Now these are actually considered video cameras that make good still photography. There's two branches of these Panasonics, and one is a really good still photo camera that's a really, that's also a pretty good video camera. This is the video camera that is also pretty good, but it's also 4K. So some of the last, it's been several months, but the last couple of episodes of the American Outsider and Model Train Outsider were filmed with this guy. And then there's the old standby, the old little handy cam, little JVC, quad proof. I don't do much with him now and then, but I keep it because it still works, so you never know when you need it. But that's Camera Corner for today. So let's see what people are saying, because I closed my chat. Whoa, you're flying, aren't you? Where you going, dude? Anyhow, Philip, I saw you come in. Hi. Yeah, there are, and they do make them, locomotives that have cameras. It's just, and they even have one for the railjet. It's just, I didn't buy it, and they're kind of expensive to just buy one. Just to buy one to have one. So, and those work a certain way, though. They don't necessarily work with OBS, those cams. You have to have them go to a certain web address and blah, blah, blah. It's all insanity. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Philip. Yeah, it would fit on the G. But even that big Panasonic camera of mine is not, it has Wi-Fi, but you can't use it as a streaming camera. There are apps that claim you can run through the app, but most of them, you read the reviews, and the reviews you trust are not good. There'll be 10,000 reviews saying it's awesome, but it's always some anonymous person, probably all from the company that produced the camera. But yeah, I'd like to, the GoPros, the mini GoPros. Polaroid made what they called the pen camera that was Wi-Fi, but you can't find those now, and if you do, they're really, well, for me, they're expensive. Because when I added the 6th webcam on here, Joyce looked at me and said, do you really need 6 webcams? And then I keep talking about I want to replace a couple of these with good 4K ones, but that shoots their price up. It's one thing to drop $50 on a basic webcam. It's another thing to drop $250, $300 on one. That's interesting, Jason. And yeah, you probably can buy some and just stick them in. But I would turn around and send my train out to a pro to install it, because I would not take a screwdriver to my locomotives. I can fix a car. I can fix a car engine. I can rewire the electricity in my house at a level where I am very comfortable and know I'm not going to burn the house down. But messing with my computers or my model train locomotives, I'm not touching them. I will break something and hate myself. I would give my stuff to Heath first, as much as you guys like to tease Heath about breaking everything. Well, welcome, White Wall Wheels. And Vinny's here. Hi, Cousin Vinny. Oh yeah, cameras on phones nowadays are amazing. But I go for cheap, okay, guys? My number one is cheap. I can get away. I could buy one good one or 5 cheap ones. So I go for cheap. The only time I didn't go for cheap, and I looked for cheap, was when I bought this Panasonic. This is, and again, all right, I'll tell you, I spent $550 on this on sale. Now, some people go, you know, I remember watching Charlie Chadwick, and he did, when he was talking about getting cameras, he's like, he goes, yeah, and this camera is only $1,500. And I'm like, oh, only 1,500 pounds. Only 1,500 pounds? Charlie, $500 is a huge expense to me. It was a major expense. But we needed a new video camera, and we used some of our trip to Germany money. Actually, this was some of my train money. But we needed a new camera. So it was, we didn't want to buy, I really wanted to get another handy cam, but nobody had 4K available. The cheapest 4K one was a Sony that you had to wait 2 months to get, and it was $900, and we weren't going to drop $900 on a Sony camera, handy cam. I did hear Joyce walk in the house, so she is here. We'll see how long before she walks down. It's not that much if you say it fast. I mean, and I'm at a point in life where I can drop a little bit of money down on a new train. It might make things tight for a bit, but I can drop. But I save up for my trains. But if there was a really nice locomotive that you guys might consider a more expensive locomotive, I could probably work out a way to buy it without destroying my bank account or having to go credit card route. But most of the years Joyce and I were married, $20 was expensive. $50 was ridiculous. We grew up really cheap when our kids were little. We married young. I was a teacher. She was still in college when we married. We had a kid right away, which was not the smartest thing to do. Not that we haven't been blessed and thrilled with how we've raised our kids, but that was our goal. We married young and wanted to have our kids young, so we would be 50 and our kids would be grown. I'm 56. My youngest is 25. And he's been out of the house, but he moved back in last year while his girlfriend finishes school. But they're looking at running a place together, so he's going to be moving out again soon. But he moved out at like 19. My daughter got married, moved out 10 years ago. My oldest daughter. My other daughter, well, she's never leaving. I'm kidding. But at the same time, probably not. But I'm still old. I don't know if you call it old-fashioned. As great as the cameras are on the phones, the batteries aren't. And when you use them for filming and the storage, I just like having the camera that is officially set aside as a camera. And yes, the video the 1080 60p video camera in my Samsung Note, my Note 10, is better than this 1080p, 1080 60p high definition handy cam I've got. It's just better. But the lens and the functionality of this big guy, and I'm showing them on a small camera, sorry. I probably should increase it. But this is by far the best quality camera I have too. But again, there are people going, I know David Jones, Cottesmore on YouTube. He doesn't post as many videos as he used to, but he bought one of these as well. But I think he also bought a more deluxe lens than I got. But it's the same camera. But, you know, and uh-oh, speaking of something, somebody just froze. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're good. I had a freeze up there as I was switching screens. But, you know, but I had hobbies. You know, once I could afford it, that's when I bought my 73 Charger and did a lot of cool stuff with that. I missed that car. But the sad thing is I bought that Charger, worked on it, did a lot of cool things with it, and then the bank collapse in 2008 nearly killed us. We almost lost our house, and I had to sell my Charger, partly because I now had 3 kids with driver's licenses and insurance, and also we had lost a lot of money, and one of the fastest way to get money was to sell a classic American muscle car. So I had to sell that car to help pay off some bills and to keep our house. And you know, as much as I love that Charger, the roof over everybody's head was more important. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with tech. I'm not going to argue about price. If somebody can afford $1,000 and get in, somebody says, "Oh, my camera's just as good." Well, no, it isn't. But your camera will do a great job. But if you can afford and buy the better tech, you afford and buy the better tech. If you can, but you buy the best you can buy. And if all you can afford is a $20 disposable camera, you do it and you enjoy the pictures. Again, that's where those fights can come out that just don't need to be fought. You know, if you're happy, you're happy. It's the same thing. You can buy a $50 locomotive and run it around your track and be happy. My locomotives tend to be expensive, which is why I have 12 trains and not 25 trains. And then there are people with 3 trains going, "Hey, I've only got 3 trains." Uh-oh, I hear footsteps. Everybody behave yourselves. All right, let's,
Hi, everybody.
there she is. She's here, everybody. Let's get you so you can read what people are saying about you. I mean, to you. I swear I had that loaded up already. But... oh, don't have the volume on there. So there you go. Everybody's saying hi to you. Here, I'll move over and you can come more into the foreground here. You can slide in a bit more. Oh, yeah, got to move the microphone too. Got to move the microphone over and make Joyce shut.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was telling him you really thought your voice sounded bad in that.
It's
Yeah.
going flat. Oh.
Okay, and it's not in the way of the camera. Your pretty face is still on the camera for everybody.
It's a pretty tired face.
It's a pretty tired face. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
You
it
look
is.
tired.
Sure.
It's another week. We're tired.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Anthony.
Say what? Hello, Mrs. Anthony.
Yeah.
That is Cousin Vinny. That's Vinny. You've seen a couple of his videos.
Yeah.
Wardle Road just came in. Wish I had a room for that.
Yeah.
For that big for trains.
We know.
Allie, at the risk of hurting your feelings, if you weren't going 5-inch scale and weren't going N scale, 00 scale, 6-inch scale, all those scales you went. And age 30 years, like I am over you,
For sure.
then you would have this bigger room for all your trains. Just kidding, just kidding. When I was your age, Ollie, I didn't have this bigger room for trains either.
Yeah.
And even when I was 50, I didn't have this big. I had to wait for my kids to leave.
Right.
And then I took over. This was my kids' playroom when they
At
were
least
little.
grow off.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to wait for my kids. This was my kids' playroom, hangout room. This was their room. They've got small bedrooms in the main part of the house, and this is where they had their toys and could play when it was raining outside, because we also got a real small yard.
Yeah, it worked well for them.
But it's worked out now.
Now it's working for you. This is too bad.
Yes, I've been keeping tabs. I can't make a lot of the live streams or Facebook things anymore, Ollie, because work is just so much of my time now. It's not even my work day. It's come home and 10,000 emails I have to go through, 10,000 questions from students, 10,000 complaints from parents and students. My child can't open this file. We can't do this assignment. We can't do that. And it's like, all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock and I'm looking at Joyce. I should have been in bed an hour ago. And she's like, I still got 2 hours of work.
Right.
Nope, there you are, down on your phone. Look at you, guilty,
I know.
guilty, guilty.
I know.
You've got an audience here. Stop talking on your phone.
You know, how much have I been on my phone today? Zero. That's not true.
Now, when you say zero, are you
No.
truly meaning zero or just not as much as you would like to have been?
No, zero since I left. No, that's not true either. I text Jenny, I called Jenny.
You're going to make me spit my drink now.
Jenny called me. Okay, I haven't done anything fun on my phone or even business on my phone.
I've only been on my phone 3 hours today. That's almost nothing.
Whatever.
Whatever. Ooh, the whatever already.
Yeah,
You
already.
went whatever already.
Yeah.
Oh, the gloves are off. We should get some trains in here. There. The gloves are off. Now we can fight under the table and nobody will see it. No, they can see that. You gotta. No, I shouldn't encourage you to punch low. No. No! Hey!
Oh.
You behave yourself, woman. Well, back up to 27. But yeah, I mean, I love the space, but you guys tell me, most of you have been into model trains longer than me. I'm only in this less than 5 years. Do you ever have enough space? Engage guys, you know, hey, this is all I can fit in here, this is all I can fit in, you know. But if you had a basement this size, would you say, oh, I don't need any more space? I've seen, I saw Tim Wells rebuilding his shed for more space. Man, I do miss his layout and his shows and everything else. But he's working again. You know, he's back. He's got to make that money. Make up that money that he wasn't making. All his photography stuff. Which Jason is taking off Train Freak. Okay, Jason, thanks for stopping in. Take care.
Yeah, as you said, fill your basement with N scale.
Oh, yeah. And right after I started HO scale, or as you in the UK like to say, HO, HO. Well, they make sure that the letter H has the H sound. They say HO. But they also call the letter Z, Z, which I can relate to because German it's Z. But still, it's Z. Shorten it. That's why we left you. The whole stuff about the tax out, we left you because we didn't like the way you pronounced H and Z. That's why we left the empire. All right, thanks for stopping in, Vinny. Oh, yeah, and the other reason we left the empire, so it was the way they pronounced H and Z, and You put U in words it doesn't belong in. Honor does not need a U. It's not honneur. Color. It's color. Get rid of the U. That's why we left you guys. That's why we broke away. And then you tried to make nice with us. You gave us the Beatles, and we're like, oh, England, you're so cool. You gave us the Beatles. And then you gave us Boy George, Spice Girls, and a whole lot of other crap. And you Canadians don't say anything because you gave us Justin Bieber. And Celine Dion. Oof. But yeah, anyhow, go back to that. I got sidetracked. Right after I bought my first couple of trays, I started going, you know, I could do a lot more and get things more to scale if I went N. I toyed with tabletop and N, and Joyce was like, no, you've already bought HO stuff. You're sticking with HO.
She's right.
Actually, Sakura, it's only ignorant Americans. The rest of us know what's Worcester sauce. We know it's Worcester. But yeah, there's some Worcestershire sauce. It's called English, not American. Correction, Common Road. What I speak is called American English.
One of our princesses. No, she's in Canada.
You gave them to Canada. Yeah, you didn't give them to us. Well, then again, now, and the thing is, we also took away one of your kings. Remember Wallace Simpson? In the groovy 60s, I might have taken you up on that, Common Road Junction. Might have been nice to go back and be a part of England. Be a part of the empire. But right now, or back in Maggie's day, I don't know. Oh, we're all kidding. We're all kidding. It's all good. They're in California. Canada didn't want them.
Oh, really?
No, I don't believe. Canada wants anybody.
Stop paying attention.
There's better beaches in California.
Sure.
Although, the coastline in British Columbia, I hear, is amazingly beautiful. Sort of like Seattle or Portland, but better weather. Remember my favorite show was filmed up there. Psych.
Oh,
Psych was filmed in British Columbia. Love that show, Psych. At least the first 4 years of it. Britannia rules the waves. See, I don't know. I can't get into sauce. I'm such a simple guy. I like malt vinegar. I like good British pub malt vinegar with French fries. But I don't, although I've been eating a lot of French fries lately again. Part of my diet, part of my weight loss, I stopped eating French fries. But the last couple of weeks I've been having fries a lot again. I need to cut it out. Still only one burger though.
Yeah. And chips.
And chips, yes, chips. As the British call them, chips. Excuse me, chips, not French fries. Hey, you didn't invent them. You did not invent them. You don't get to call them that. It's just like a French kiss isn't French, but somebody called it that. French toast isn't French. French fries aren't French, but they weren't invented in England either. I think they were Belgian. I think a Belgian invented them, and he called them pommes. So we should all be calling them pommes. That's what we call them in Germany. They're pommes. Yeah, pommes. Pommes with mayonnaise in Germany. Oh, so good. French fries in Germany are so killer good. I love French fries in Germany.
Vinegar and Chit-Chops.
Is vinegar.
And the sauce as well.
Eva. No, I like that. You were typing in good, one of those Cockney accents. Eva. Starting to sound a little like Michael Caine. The French didn't invent that Eva. I can't do Michael Caine, sorry. Sometimes I can do Ringo. That's a British accent. Sometimes I can do the Queen. Hello, peasants.
Fried in the crisps.
Hello.
Potato chips are crisp.
Potato chips are crisp. And we Americans invented those, so they're potato chips.
Chips made out of potatoes. It's
They're
pretty
chips
obvious.
made out of potatoes. But they were already using chips for French fries, so they had to give them a different name. We call them crisp because they're crispy. See, if you just called French fries, then you could have called potato chips, and the world would be right. But no, you UKers have got to be different. Just so obstinate and silly. You're on your island and think you can dictate everything because you're on your island. You literally are both mentally and physically on your own little island.
I know what a portion is. I know. Are you saying they're too big?
I don't know, but that's the thing. The UK has more accents per square mile than any other country in the world. Germany's got a ton of accents, and I've learned how to understand most of them. Every now and then, like Plattdeutsch, I still scratch my head with. Swiss German, Schweizerdeutsch. Well, Moin Moin's easy.
I know.
Moin Moin. Moin Moin.
That's it. For those
That's it.
Plattdeutsch, yeah.
Moin Moin.
Moin moin.
But, no, the UK, it's like every other street's an accent. And then you always get the American accents doing British accents. Like, who was he in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks and Mary Poppins? Dick Van Dyke. At least we know how to speak English. No, you don't. That's why we call this American English. The new and improved. You speak English or British English. And even then, is it Liverpudlian? Is it one of the 4 variations of Cockney? Is it, what is it, Mank? What do they call the Manchester accent? Mank? Mankies? Hey, we're the Mankies. Hello, Geofab, and all that pimply hyperbole. Excuse me, do you know the Queen's English? Well, I would hope she is. But then, even in our various languages, for example, in American, I think it's the same in England. In America, we park on driveways and drive on parkways. How did we figure that one out? We drive on parkways and park on driveways. Only in America could we come up with that logic. Yeah, Leslie, she is technically German. She's a Saxe-Coburg. They changed her name to Windsor to sound more English, but she's a Saxe-Coburg. And her husband is her third cousin, and he's half German, half Greek. Actually, I have listened to Shakespeare in Shakespearean English Shakespeare, true dialect. Wow, that's both amazingly cool and amazingly insane. Wait, what did he say? What did he just say? What did he say? Oh, please don't start the accents again. I think Shakespeare sounds best in Liverpudlian. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the swings and errors of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against oneself against the sea of troubles, and by striking thus ending, Geofab. Or an Australian, to be or not to be, mate, that's the bloody question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune from that crazy Sheila, or to take arms against oneself and turn on the Barbie. Yeah, and then there's the Klingon version. I've heard it in Tolkien, Elvish, and Klingon in my life, yeah.
I think I have 7 to 8 more inches left. It's cruising.
Somebody keeps track of your knitting. It's Jackie, right? Yeah.
Right,
8 more inches.
At 8 more inches, I'm almost there.
Well, there's a definite connection between Scott and Liverpudlian. But no, I wasn't quite going Scott yet. But the only Scott I can do is either Monty Python Scottish or Pink Floyd, The Wall Scottish. Yeah, yes, yeah. Stand still, laddie. Look at the bones, man. He'll do you up a right treat, laddie. There lies the cave of Caer Banach. What? Behind the rabbit? It is the rabbit! I've also heard Shakespeare in German. Sein oder nicht sein? Das ist dann die Frage. Oh yeah, we all know Queen Victoria was German, and her husband was a German. He was a little kraut. That was Queen Elizabeth's favorite joke. Yes, I know a little German. My husband. No, her husband was Albert. Hello, do you have Prince Albert in a can? Why, yes we do. You better let him out. He'll suffocate. No, because you have to go to school and learn to speak that proper. I mean, even Jenny talks about, for some of the work she did with the BBC, how she had to go to narrator school or whatever it is and learn how to enunciate correctly. Long time ago when I was in college, I was a radio news disc jockey. I was a radio news reporter, and you had to work on things like that. This is WONU 6 o'clock news with Anthony Dodge reporting. I had an audience about this big, 20 people. Yeah. Who knew when I was sitting there in that little room at Ohio Northern University doing my radio broadcast that I'd be right back on a cheap mic in a small room, well, big room now with trains running. Hello. Hello, peasants. And then there's doing it in American street slang, doing Shakespeare in American street slang. Want to live, want to die, motherfucker. That's all I care about. I know whether I'm more straight to do it or not to do it, motherfucker. Because I just don't care. Because I got whole little problems happening to me. And sometimes I just feel like I want to take a motherfucking head and blow my motherfucking head off. That's street Shakespeare. They're probably still going, wait, what? And I still got an audience of 20, yeah. Yeah, our radio station was so small at this college. I only went to the college for less than a year before I transferred out. So Common Road Junction, take care. We'll see you. But yeah, I think we had I think we had 3,700 students at the college, and I think our radio station reached about 500 of them, of whom about 20 turned into the news. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they like the song, by the way.
Yeah,
I've played it twice, so I'm not going to play it again.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll load it up tomorrow.
Okay.
There's Heath. Yeah, we're still here. She's not a better half, she's a better whole.
Oh.
We're two people. So she's a better whole. I always hated that phrase, the better half. She's half of the partnership, I suppose. Well, 48.7% of the partnership. That may have been the fastest your hand ever moved. That was pretty quick.
I'm quick with the kids. Just snatched them right out of the air.
I see somebody said 21. Heath came in and we went down to 19, so we gained one and went down.
Oh, I'm confused.
Yeah, it confuses me too. I did get to 30 today, but it didn't stay there long.
That's good. Almost.
But yeah, we need to start shutting this down. So we want to run out to. We got to go get. Got to get wood. I go get wood. I'm building my coming grandson's crib. I've got what, about 2 months, almost exactly 2 months.
Yeah.
So I need to get my butt going.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might have even less work. No, I can't have less work done on my layout. I just don't know if I'll necessarily have newer songs coming anytime soon. I mean, they always happen. Like I said, I've got 2 or 3 that I just need to find music for. But I am building my grandson's crib to my daughter's specifications. So we got to go get some more wood for it. I bought some last week, and then we had a change of design, so I got to go buy more wood. And it's dinner time too. We can get dinner and go. All right. Well, I'm going to turn this little bit of insanity off because I really do have to go run out and buy some wood. And we got to get that car out of the garage so we can use it before Liz comes home. I don't know when she comes up. So I want to thank everybody for coming in, hanging out. We're back up to 20. It's always wonderful to see you guys, especially those that actually come and stay for 2 hours. I don't know what kind of drugs you're on, but talk to your doctor, because to hang on here for 2 hours and listen to me is seek help. But I want to thank you for doing it anyhow, so maybe stay on the drugs. I don't care. And we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Hopefully Joyce will come in earlier and won't stay at work so long.
I had 2 classes today and no time at all.
That's right. You had to take over somebody else's class along with yours.
Yep.
So she had no time.
That was fun.
She never has any time.
It's true.
It's amazing she has kids. You know, I always know that look's coming. It's 37 years together. I know that look is coming. I don't even have to look on the camera. It's like, you could take a picture and go, yeah, that was the look expected. All right, everybody, take care. Happy trains. I'll be the Zane.